Hare Krishna, happy Janmashtami everyone. Today we are going to be reading the third verse from the Nectar of Instruction, which is an authorized English presentation of Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī Śrī Updeshamrita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukam Karute Vachalam Pamam Vangate Kirim Yat Kripatam Mandeshi Gurum Din Taridam Parmanam Madhavam Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. So the text 3 is Utsahan Nishchayad Dhairya tat tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat sato vitteh shadbhir bhakti prasidhyati. Utsahat is by enthusiasm, nishchayat by confidence, dhairyat by patience, tat tat karma various activities favorable for devotional service, pravartanat by performing, sangatyagat by giving up the association of non-devotees, Satah of the great previous acharyas, Vriteh by following in the footsteps, Shadbhir by these six, Bhakti devotional service, Prasidhyati advances or becomes successful. Translation: there are six principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. First, being enthusiastic. Second, endeavoring with confidence. Third, being patient. Fourth, acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. Fifth is abandoning the association of non-devotees, and sixth, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These six principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Purport by Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 has defined devotional service as follows: Anya Bilashita Shunyam Janma Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukuliyena Krishnanu Shīlanam Bhaktir Uttama. Uttama Bhakti or unalloyed devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, involves the rendering of devotional service in a way that is favorable to the Lord. This devotional service should be free from any extraneous motive and devoid of fruitive karma, impersonal jnana, and all other selfish desires. Bhakti is a sort of cultivation. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Cultivation of spirituality does not mean sitting down idly for meditation, as some pseudo-yogis teach. Such idle meditation may be good for those who have no information of devotional service, and for this reason, it is sometimes recommended as a way to check distracting materialistic activities. Meditation means stopping all nonsensical activities, at least for the time being. Devotional service, however, not only puts an end to all nonsensical mundane activities, but also engages one in meaningful devotional activities. Sri Prahlad Maharaj recommends Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. The 9 processes of devotional service are as follows. First is hearing the names and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Second, chanting His glories. Third, remembering the Lord. Fourth, serving the Lord's feet. Fifth, worshipping the deity. Sixth, offering obeisances unto the Lord. Seventh, acting as His Lord's servant. Eighth, making friends with the Lord. Ninth, surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in the Bhagavad-Gita 4.34. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinah. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. It is further recommended in the Mundak Upanishad, Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Eva Vigachet. To understand that transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Thus, this method of submissively receiving transcendental confidential knowledge is not merely based on mental speculation. In this regard, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu told Rupa Gosvami, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beej. In the course of traversing the universal creation of Brahma, some fortunate soul may receive the seed of Bhakti Lata the creeper of devotional service. This is all by the grace of Guru and Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya-lila 19th chapter verse 151. The material world is a place of confinement for the living entities who are by nature anandamaya, pleasure-seeking. They actually want to be free from confinement of this world of conditional happiness. But not knowing the process of liberation, they are bound to transmigrate from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, the living entities are wandering throughout the material universe. When by good fortune one comes in contact with a pure devotee and hears from him patiently, one begins to follow the path of devotional service. Such an opportunity is offered to a person who is sincere. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is giving such a chance to the humanity at large. If by force one takes advantage of this opportunity to engage in devotional service, the path of liberation immediately opens. One should accept this opportunity to return home back to Godhead very enthusiastically. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be successful even in the material world. One has to be very enthusiastic in his particular field of activity in order to become successful. A student, a businessman, artist, or anyone else who wants to succeed in his line must be enthusiastic. Similarly, one has to be very enthusiastic in devotional service. Enthusiasm means action, but action for whom? The answer is that one should always act for Krishna. Krishnartha Kila Cheshta. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In all phases of life, one has to perform the devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master in order to attain perfection in Bhakti Yoga. It is not that one has to confine or narrow one's activities. Krishna is all-pervading, therefore nothing is independent of Krishna, as Krishna himself states in Bhagavad-Gita 9.4, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina masthani sarvabhutani nachaham deshva avasthita. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, one has to make everything favorable for Krishna's service. For example, at present we are using a dictaphone. The materialistic who invented this machine intended it for businessmen or writers of mundane subject matters. He certainly never thought of using this dictaphone in God's service. But we are using this dictaphone to write Krishna's consciousness literature. Of course, the manufacturer of the dictaphone is wholly within the energy of Krishna. So the Krishna's energy is wholly responsible for the making of the dictaphone, but all the parts of the instrument, including the electronic functions, are made from different combinations and interactions of the five basic types of material energy, namely Bhumi, Jala, Agni, Vayu, and Akash. The inventor used his brain to make this complicated machine, and his brain as well as the ingredients were supplied by Krishna. According to the statement of Krishna, Matsthani Sarvabhutani, everything is dependent on my energy. Thus the devotee can understand that since nothing's independent of Krishna's energy, everything should be dovetailed in his service. Endeavor executed with intelligence in Krishna consciousness is called Utsaha or enthusiasm. The devotees find the correct means by which everything can be utilized in the service of the Lord. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhi Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. The execution of devotional service is not a matter of idle meditation but practical action in the foreground of spiritual life. These activities must be executed with patience. One should not be impatient in Krishna consciousness. Indeed, this Krishna consciousness movement was started single-handedly, and in the beginning there was no response. But because we continued to execute our devotional activities with patience, people gradually began to understand the importance of this movement, and now they are eagerly participating. One should not be impatient in discharging devotional service, but should take instructions from the spiritual master and execute them with patience, depending on the mercy on the spiritual master, and execute them with patience, depending on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. The successful execution of Krishna consciousness activities requires both patience and confidence. A newly married girl naturally expects offspring from her husband, but she cannot expect them to have them immediately after marriage. Of course, as soon as she is married, she can attempt to get a child, but she must surrender to her husband, confident that a child will develop and be born in due time. Similarly, in devotional service, surrender means that one has to become confident. The devotee thinks, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna, Krishna will surely protect me and give me help for the successful execution and devotional service. This is called confidence. As already explained, one should not be idle but should be very enthusiastic about executing the regulative principles. Tat tat karma pravartana, neglecting the regulative principles will destroy the devotional service. In this Krishna consciousness movement, there are 4 basic regulative principles forbidding illicit relationships, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. A devotee must be very enthusiastic and should be very enthusiastic about following these principles. If he becomes slack in following any of them, his progress will certainly be checked. Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī therefore recommends that tat karma pravartanat, one must strictly follow the regulative principles of Vaidhi Bhakti. In addition to these 4 principles, yama, there are positive regulative principles, niyama, such as the daily chanting of 16 rounds on Japa Mala beads. These regulative activities must be faithfully performed with enthusiasm. This is called tat karma pravartana, or varied engagement in devotional service. Furthermore, in order to be successful in devotional service, one must give up the association of undesirable people. This includes karmis, jnanis, yogis, and other non-devotees. Once Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was asked by one of his householder devotees about the general principle of Vaishnavism, as well as the general routines of the activities of the Vaishnavas. And Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu immediately replied, Asat Sanga Tyaga Vaishnava Achara. As well as the general routine of the Vaishnavas. And Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu immediately replied, Asat Sanga Tyaga a Vaishnava Achara. Characteristically, a Vaishnava is one who gives up the association of worldly people or non-devotees. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore recommended Tanadera Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevasa. One has to live in the company of your devotees and execute the regulative principles laid down by the previous acharyas, the 6 Gosvamis, namely Śrī Rūpa Gosvāmī, Śrī Sanatana Gosvami, Śrī Jeev Gosvami, Śrī Raghunath Das Gosvami, Śrī Gopal Bhatt Gosvami, and Śrī Raghunath Bhatt Gosvami. One has to live in the company of the pure devotees and execute the regulative principles laid down by the previous acharyas, the 6 Gosvamis, namely Śrī Rūpa, Śrī Sanatana, Śrī Jeev Gosvami, Śrī Raghunath Das Gosvami, Śrī Gopal Bhatt Gosvami, and Śrī Raghunath Bhatt Gosvami. If one lives in the association of devotees, there is little chance of associating with non-devotees. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is opening many centers just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice regulative principles of the consciousness is opening many centers just to invite people to live in the company of devotees and practice the regulative principles of spiritual life. Devotional service means transcendental activities on the transcendental platform. There is no contamination by 3 modes of material nature. This is called Vishuddha Sattva, the platform of pure goodness or goodness free from contamination by the qualities of passion and ignorance. In this Krishna consciousness movement, we require everyone to rise early in the morning by 4 a.m. and attend Mangala Arati or morning worship, then read Srimad Bhagavatam, perform Kirtan, and so on. Thus we found. Perform Kirtan and so forth. Thus we hold continuous activities in devotional service 24 hours daily. This is called Satovritti, or following the footsteps of the previous acharyas, who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna consciousness activities. If one strictly follows the advice given in this verse by the Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī, namely being enthusiastic, being confident and patient, who expertly fill every moment of time with Krishna consciousness activities. If one strictly follows the advice given by in this verse by Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī, namely being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, giving up the association of unwanted persons, following the regulative principles, and remaining in the association of devotees, one is surely to advance in devotional service. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that the cultivation of knowledge by philosophical speculation, the collection of mundane opulence by the advancement of fruitive activities, and the desire for yoga siddhis, material perfections are all contrary to the principles of devotional service. One has to become thoroughly callous to such non-permanent activities and turn his attention instead to the regulative principles of devotional service. According to Bhagavad-Gita 2.69, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Samyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune. What is night for all the beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for the all beings is night for the introspective sage. Engagement in the pure devotional service of the Lord is the life and soul of the living entity. It is the desired goal and supreme perfection of human life. One has to become confident about this, and one also has to become be confident about all activities other than devotional service, such as mental speculation, fruitive activity, or mystic endeavor, will never yield any enduring benefit. Complete confidence in the path of devotional service will enable one to attain his desired goal, but attempting to follow this path will only succeed in making one restless. In the 7th chapter, such as mental speculation, fruitive activity, work, or mystic endeavor, will never yield any enduring benefit. Complete confidence in the path of devotional service will enable one to attain his desired goal, but attempting to follow others' path will only succeed in making one restless. In 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, one must be calmly convinced that those who have given up devotional service to engage in the severe austerities for other purposes are not purified in the mind, despite their advance in devotional services, because they might have no information about the transcendental service of the Lord. It is further stated in 7th canto, although mental speculators and fruitive actors may perform good austerities and penances, they still fall down because they do not have information about the lotus feet of the Lord. The devotees of Lord, however, never fall down. In Bhagavad-Gita 9.31, Supreme Personality of Godhead assures Arjuna Kaunteya Pratijana Jan. Actors may perform great austerities and penances, they still fall down because they do not have information about the lotus feet of Lord. The devotees of the Lord, however, never fall down. Bhagavad-Gita 9.31. The Supreme Personality of Godhead assures Arjuna Kaunteya Pratijana Janihi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare that it boldly that my devotees never perishes. Again in Bhagavad Gita 2.40, Krishna says, Nehabhi karmo nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam api asya dhammasya. In this endeavor, there is no swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Devotional service is so pure and perfect that once having begun, one is forcibly dragged to eliminate to ultimate success. Sometimes a person will give up his ordinary material engagements and out of sentiment take shelter of lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and thus begin the preliminary execution of devotional service. Even if such an immature devotee falls down, there is no loss on his part. On the other hand, that is the gain of the one who executes the prescribed duties according to his varna and ashram but does not like to devotional service. Sometimes a person will give up his ordinary material engagements and out of sentiment take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and thus begin the preliminary execution of devotional service. Even if such an immature devotee falls down, there is no loss on his part. On the other hand, what is the gain of one who executes the prescribed duties according to his varna and ashram but does not take to devotional service? Although a fallen according to the varna and ashram. On the other hand, what is the gain of one who executes the prescribed duties according to his varna and ashram but does not like to devotional service? Although fallen devotee may take his next birth in a low family, his devotional sentiments or services will nonetheless resume from where it left off. Devotional service is ahetuki pratihata. It is not exact of any mundane causes, nor can be deemed does not take to devotional service. Although fallen devotee may take his birth in a low family, his devotional service will nonetheless resume from where it left off. Devotional service is to keep apriti hata. It is not the effect of any mundane cause, nor it can be terminated by the mundane cause or permanently curtailed by any material interruption, engagement, and should not be very interested in activities of the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. There are certainly many good qualities among the fruitive actors, philosophical speculators, and mystic yogis, but all good qualities automatically develop in the character of a devotee. No extraneous endeavor is needed as confirmed by Srimad Bhagavatam. 5.18.12. All the good qualities of the demigods manifest progressively in one who has developed pure devotional service. Because a devotee is not interested in the material activity, he does not become materially contaminated. He is immediately situated on the platform of because a devotee is not interested in any material activity, he does not become materially contaminated. He is immediately situated on the platform of transcendental life. However, one who engages in mundane activity, be he a so-called jnani, yogi, karmi, philanthropist, nationalist, or whatever, cannot attain the higher stage of Mahatma. He remains a Duratma or cripple-minded person. According to Bhagavad-Gita 9.13, Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita bhajante aranya manaso gyatva bhutidam. O son of Pritha, let's read this sloka again. Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita bhajante ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, that is Arjun, those who are not deluded the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Since all the devotees of the Lord are under the protection of His supreme potency, they should not deviate from the path of devotional service and take to the path of the karmi, jnani or yogi. This is called utsahan nishchayat dhairyat tat karma pravartanat. Enthusiastically executing the regulative activities of the devotional service with patience and confidence. In this way, one can advance in devotional service without hindrance. So we will read from verse 4 of the Updeshamrita, which is the Nectar of Instruction. Thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Janmashtami Mahotsav ki jai. Do as much as you can. Absorb yourself in the hearing, chanting, listening to the Krishna Katha, doing devotional service in your home temples or your local temples, and serve the devotees and pray for Bhakti, my life. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.